Today on Ballistic Burgers, I'm going to be giving you a preview of two burgers that are going to be on the menu at Artichoke Joe's in San Bruno, California. Let's get going. Last week, I was up in San Bruno, California for about 3 days. San Bruno is a very small city, about 13 miles south of San Francisco. There's a place there called Artichoke Joe's. Now, Artichoke Joe's is a casino, it's a card room that has been open since 1916, and it is still owned by the original family that opened this place. And Joe, who is the namesake, back in the early 1900s, he was taking on a lot of bets, and one of his patrons asked, "Joe, how are you going to pay off all these bets when they come in?" And his answer was, "I'll pay everybody in artichoke leaves." Apparently back then in the day, there was artichoke fields all over the place. So that's how he earned the nickname Artichoke Joe's and ended up naming his business Artichoke Joe's. So a buddy of mine named Al is the executive chef of one of the restaurants there. They have two really good restaurants there. And Al is trying to basically revamp the menu, add some new items in there. We cooked up 3 really, really good barbecue recipes or dishes that are on my barbecue channel, and I proposed doing a few burgers, and Al became very excited because one of the customers was telling him that back in the day they were really known for their hamburgers. So again, since Al took over, he's just wanting to kind of freshen up the menu, and one of the things he wants to hit is burgers. He wants to bring really good burgers back to Artichoke Joe's. So we were, sitting in his office, just sort of going back and forth with some recipe ideas. Came up with 3 really good burgers, and one of my ideas was, hey, I'm going to cook you Hodad's bacon cheeseburger from Hodad's here in San Diego, and I want you to kind of just tweak it and make it your own. So I'm going to cook Al's revised version of that burger. He made it his own. It's not a copycat of Hodad's bacon cheeseburger anymore. And they're calling it Boss Man Mike Burger, which I think is very cool. And I'm going to do a spin off of the Michigan Olive Burger because there's nothing on the menu. It's Artichoke Joe's. I want to see some artichoke recipes in their menu. So instead of using minced olives, I'm using minced marinated artichoke hearts. And so I'm really excited about this, and we are going to kick this artichoke, I'm going to call it the Artichoke Joe Burger. We're going to make a very, very basic sauce using mayonnaise and the marinade from a jar of marinated artichoke hearts. And I'm using equal amounts, so just equal amounts, 1-to-1. Pour that marinade in with the mayo here and stir it up. My gut was telling me use a bigger bowl, Greg, but I was up prepping all this stuff early this morning. And with that Michigan Olive Burger, there's a famous place, no longer around unfortunately, called Mr. Fable's. And this inspiration is coming from a copycat I did of the Mr. Fable's Olive Burger. That tastes good. I can definitely taste, the artichoke, and that's what I wanted. I'm happy. All right, let's hit the griddle. So right here I have some bacon that I have been boiling now for over an hour. This is, that little twist off the Hodad burger. Running the griddle at medium-high. Kind of formed into somewhat of like a patty shape. I'm going to get a weight on it. Now in the past I've been using bacon scraps, and when I was at Artichoke Joe's making the Hodad's burger, I used regular bacon strips and cut them in half. With this burger, I left whole bacon strips when I boiled them, and I'm actually liking this better. I think it's easier to form that kind of a patty shape with the longer strips. And this is thin bacon. You don't want to use thick bacon. I'm going to move this over to this side. This is 7 ounces of 80/20 chuck, and this is going to be for the Bossman Mike Burger. These are two 6-ounce patties, 80/20 chuck. This will be for that Artichoke Joe Burger. Put these with some salt and pepper. Brioche buns. This is one of the changes that Al made with the their version of that Hodad bacon cheeseburger is they're using brioche buns. These are ready to flip. Nice. 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 Hodad burger. The artichoke burger. In preparation on that Hodad burger, we're going corner to corner. I guess you'd be edge to edge. Mayo. They're sticking with the original, the way that they dressed it over there at Hodad's. A little bit of mustard, just right in the middle. Back to the cooking here for a sec. Get this beautiful crispy bacon on top. Slice of American cheese on top. And that bun, get it all steamy and nice. Now back to this business here. So Al is decided to go with some beautifully caramelized onions instead of the raw onions that they use at Hodad's. I think that's a good call. You can make it your own, Al. A little bit of ketchup, some pickles, and tomato. That nice lettuce snowball. So on this Artichoke Joe burger, we throw down some shredded lettuce. Now, in Michigan, normally they're using leaf lettuce, but we're changing it up here. This is an artichoke burger. A nice slice of tomato, that artichoke sauce. Then those minced artichoke hearts, those marinated artichoke hearts. And just because I like a little acidity in my burgers, these are home marinated onions here. These are red onions that I pickled, and they're just beautiful. Here's a double patty with the cheese between. For this Artichoke Joe burger, crown, beautiful. Patties and bacon down for the Bossman Mike. Look at that. And I give you the Artichoke Joe burger and the Bossman Mike burger. Both of these look amazing. So I'm really curious to see what, if any, changes Al makes to these burgers. Now, the one I would expect maybe is he may go to a single patty on this Artichoke Joe burger. But the way I built this is how they make, or how Mr. Fables made that Michigan olive burger. You know, exactly like this, with the exception of that pickled red onion. That was my idea. I just thought it needed a little bit more acid. And again, I built the Bossman Mike here, basically how they would build the bacon cheeseburger at Hodad's in Ocean Beach, San Diego. So which one am I trying first? I'm going with this. I'm going with the Artichoke Joe burger because I've never had anything like this before. I just thought, you know, Artichoke Joe's, let's put some artichokes on the menu. And that is a beautiful burger. And I really like the color of that, you know, pickled red onion. I did that last night. Smells good. Juicy. So this is good. It reminds me very much of that olive burger. The artichoke flavor here is not overpowering at all. It's there. It's very mild, not overpowering. The thing I really like about this, these patties are piping hot right now, right off the griddle. And, you know, that initial bite, you're getting that cool, crisp lettuce, that cold tomato, and that, you know, tang of the pickled onion. And it's just really helping balance everything out. This is a good burger. And the cheese is there, you know, it's one slice between the two patties, and you're getting it, but again, it's not crazy overpowering. Good stuff. I think one change I would make is I would up the ratio of the mayo a little bit to make it a little bit more creamy. Right now it's got the texture of like a salad dressing. I just want it a little bit more, a little bit thicker, just a little bit though. And then the Boss Man Mike, just look at that. This is going to be good. The bacon is cooked perfectly. You can see it's more of that golden brown color, very crisp. So this is basically like the, you know, Hodad's bacon cheeseburger, but it has caramelized onions instead of the, you know, crispy raw onion. Let's see, this is a big burger. Such a crisp burger. I mean, bacon, killer. And Al, if you're listening, if you're watching this, thin bacon is key. Leave it whole strips. You can blob it into a patty a lot easier that way because it all holds together. But yeah, that thin bacon, it has to be thin bacon. Paying tribute to that Hodad's burger, changes are the bun and the onions, which I think seems like a small change, but the onion is a huge change. That raw onion component is one of the major things about that Hodad burger that makes it kind of stand out. You know, that castle of raw onions they build. I was concerned about that part being removed from this burger, but it's really good. This is really working. Those caramelized onions are coming out very, very nicely. And it's really adding to this burger. That bacon is so crisp because one of the things I was concerned about is the textural change. But I'm not missing that because of how crisp that bacon is. And that's, again, key to this burger. That thin boiled bacon cooking up really, really thick, crisp. That's the key. But wow, I'm pleased with both of these. Very proud of this Artichoke Joe burger, just because, again, I think pay tribute to Artichoke Joe, himself, you know, the man, the myth. Again, they opened in 1916, so we have to pay homage to Joe with those artichokes. Yeah, I think, Al, you're off to a good start with these two burgers. These are good, keepers. Anyway, yeah, check out my barbecue channel. You'll see we did some kind of wild things on the barbecue, some different type recipes, including smoked and then deep fried baby back ribs, which turned out amazing with like a hot honey glaze. But I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. The reason I'm doing these burgers here at home instead of filming it in the kitchen is that last day when we were doing the burgers, there was like a crisis that Al had to handle with an order that came in. So it delayed us being able to cook. And by the time we had access to the kitchen, it was just going off. You know, the tickets were coming in, and I just did not want to get in the way of all the actual, you know, chefs and cooks that were trying to make a living there and serving their customers. So we decided, nah, we'll just blow that part off. And I'm happy we made that decision. But I did cook the Hodad's bacon cheeseburger for Al so he could try it and see why it's one of my favorite burgers. And he liked it. So anyway, if you ever find your way up into Northern California, San Bruno, I'd never been there before. And, you know, it's 13 miles south of San Francisco, and it just really has a small town feel. It's pretty cool. It's close to San Mateo and Burlingame, which same thing. They're both pretty quaint little areas. So it was nice. I really enjoyed it, and I wish, I had a little bit more time to kind of explore. But we were busy. It was 3 days of hard work, but it was worth it. So anyway, if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed yet, please consider hitting that sub button, ringing the notification bell, thumbing it up if you like it. I really hope you did. Keep those suggestions coming in because they keep this channel alive. See you on the next video. This is a really good burger. Cheers.